Tim, thank you for being here and congratulations on 23 years of flying November 411 Victor Tango.
Yes.
Was today your fini flight or your last flight in the aircraft?
Today was my last flight in the aircraft and very possibly my last flight ever out of 62 years.
Wow.
And you were a part of it.
And Tim, we've known each other for probably over 2 decades now because you
Yes.
were one of the very first owners of a Cirrus SR22. What
Yes.
year did you get that airplane?
I got that in 2002 and I had an order on an SR20 just shortly before it was certified.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a year waiting period on it because they were producing maybe one a month, maybe 2 a month at the very most. And you approached me and you said, "Do I have a deal for you?" And I said, "Well, what could that be, Gary?" And you said, "I tell you what, you would look really good in an SR22. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Just like an SR20, but it's bigger and more powerful and it carries more weight and it's really cool. You'll really like it." And I said, "How much, Gary?" And he said, "Oh, don't worry about that." And so I bit, and I've been happy with it ever since. It's been one of my best friends.
Well, it's a very early test pilot and a demo pilot for Cirrus aircraft. We're very thankful for you being an early believer in Cirrus design at that time. Pat Waddick, who's still there, and Dale Clapmeyer are very appreciative because you started Cirrus off to being a long-term success in aviation. There's over 11,000 of these airplanes now, I believe. But you are the longest continuous owner of a Cirrus SR22 that's all original. I think maybe Roger Whittier has a highly modified one that's a little bit older, but
don't need all that fancy stuff.
No. And if you don't mind my asking, you actually have a pretty distinguished background. Did you learn to fly in civilian or in the Navy?
I did. We're at Flying Cloud Field right now, and I learned to fly right over there when I was about 13 years old.
13.
And when I got my, I soloed in August 26, 1963, right over there in a 172.
Okay.
And I soloed before I had a driver's license. And my instructor, Milt Johnson, used to say, we'd go up and we'd do turns and things like that. And he said he got frustrated because I wouldn't look outside because I flew in my dad's Navy on the right seat, and I was too short to look out the window. So I became an instrument pilot from the start. And so he'd get mad at me and he'd say, "Well, when you drive to the airport, don't you look outside when you come to a stop sign and make sure there's nobody coming from the right, coming from the left?" And I said, "No, my sister drives me to the airport because I don't have a driver's license."
Good. So that was 67, you said?
63.
63. And what year did you go into the Navy?
I went into the Navy in 1969, December 9th.
So Vietnam War is heating up.
It is.
What motivated you to join the Navy?
They let me play with their airplanes.
They let you play with the airplanes. Were they drafting at that time?
No. When I raised my hand, the day that I raised my hand, I was number 343.
Okay.
So I would have never got in. But I had signed up and I was in law school at the time at Billy Mitchell. And I didn't think that I wanted to be a lawyer because it was too much work. And I wanted to do something that I really enjoyed and was reasonably good at.
Did you do Navy ROTC or Aviation Officer Candidate School?
Aviation Officer Candidate School.
In Pensacola, Florida?
Pensacola, Florida.
With the drill instructors?
With the kindly drill instructors, yes.
I did the same program in 1976, and you did it in 69. Vietnam War is going on, and you knew you were going to be a pilot right away. Did you want to go transport, fighter, helicopter?
I just wanted to fly whatever they said I could fly. So I got to fly in advance, I got to fly the the Cougar.
The T9 Cougar, TF9.
TF9J.
J, which single engine, twin engine?
The single engine centrifugal flow.
Beautiful airplane.
It was a beautiful airplane. They said it was made by the Grumman, the lead sled made by the Grumman Iron Works.
Did you start off in a T28 or a T34?
No, I started started out in the T34 and then went to Meridian and flew the T2A and the T2B. And I taught in the after I finished. I was a plowback, and I went back to teach. And so I spent 3 years teaching, and I taught in the T2A and B and C. And the T2A had an 18-second legal spool-up time from idle to 100%.
Now, as a naval aviator, spool-up time is important because behind the aircraft carrier, if you're low and slow and you add power, and it takes 18 seconds to ramp up, that's going to be a ramp strike, isn't it?
It's going to be a very bad day.
Yeah, so you don't want to get low or slow.
You don't want to get low or slow.
And
you don't want the engine to spool down.
And did you go to the boat and carrier qualify?
I did in both the Buckeye and the F9.
Wow.
And the F9, if you got behind the power curve and got a red ball, you didn't power up and abort the landing. You went off to the side and you wait until you got the ground effect. And that hopefully would save you.
Where were we?
Tim, we were in Meridian, and we were flying the T2 and the T9. You were on the
F9.
F9, TF9.
That was in
Cougar.
Beeville.
Yeah. Oh, Beeville.
Bay County, Texas.
Okay. In fact, can you show us your Gulf of Mexico yacht club?
Well, they had these war heroes that came back from Vietnam. And they had the Gulf of Tonkin Yacht Club, 1,000 missions, or 1,000 hours over North Vietnam. I thought those are pretty cool guys. And so we, as plowbacks, who came back from training, and after we got our wings, we were teachers in Meridian. And we thought we'd, kind of like to emulate that coolness. And so this is the Gulf of Mexico. 1,000 combat-free hours over Mississippi. And so we thought we'd honor them with bragging about ourselves.
I love it. Always a good sense of humor in the Navy.
Well, you guys are the war heroes, and we are just the ardent admirers.
Yeah, you gotta keep the pipeline flowing of
There you
naval
go. There
aviators.
you go. Doing 3 hops a day, 7 days a week.
So you finished up your training command tour, and then you went to the fleet flying what?
Well, I did the training command tour, and then we went to VR1 in Norfolk, which had Saberliners, and this was the civilian version of the Saberliner, not the T-39, which was an E model and a G model. G model had thrust reversers on it.
Is that what Bob Hoover used to fly? Okay.
Yep. And we used that for ferry pilot transport for VIPs. I flew the Secretary of the Navy quite frequently.
So in addition to the Saberliner, what other aircraft did you fly with VR?
We had the C9, which was a variant of a DC-9.
Nightingale, flying logistics?
No, well, it's the same airframe.
Okay.
They had a cargo door on it. So we could go from 90 seats to 9 pallets.
Okay.
And it was a QC, quick changeover, and we had FD-109s, which were state-of-the-art, the flight director, and we had INS and Delco 4 INS system, and we had HF in it, and we had TACANs, of course, and we had high frequency, we had what was it called, the Loran. We had Loran in there.
Way before GPS, and you had inertial nav, and
we had
you were state of the art.
We were hot shit.
Did you have a sextant?
No, we didn't have a hole to put the sextant into.
Okay.
So
you completed your naval service. Was that your last tour in the Navy?
That was my last tour in the Navy, but it was a great tour. We we would, I got typed in the Saberliner. Our NATOPS check was a type rating. And the Saberliner was up in Philadelphia flying with a Fed. And in the C9, it was it was an Allegheny Fed out of Pittsburgh. It was my first time going into a jetway.
Okay.
And the Fed just had us, he went through the entire enunciator panel. He said, what is this for? What does this do? Why did you do that? Or what would you do? And then the flight check was, they did a V1 cut on the runway after V1 and pulled the throttle back.
You don't do that anymore today.
Don't do that anymore, no.
Okay.
So it was the C9 was state of the art at the time.
So what did you decide to do after the Navy?
Well, because one of the things that made it very easy to transition was the fact that the Fed ride in the Saberliner and the C9 was also an ATP check ride. So I got typed in the Saberliner and I was typed in the C9. And so it made it very easy. Most of the people wanted to, it was kind of like an airline rag. Most of the people wanted to go to Delta and wanted to go to Eastern and wanted to go to, and I was remember in the old club I was sitting at a table with about 10 people and I was last and I said I want to go work for North Central Airlines.
North Central.
And they all pointed their finger at me and they laughed. And I ended up after about 10 years being the most senior VR1 person at that airline because they all ended up there through mergers and bankruptcies.
So North Central became Republic,
That's correct.
and Republic became,
Northwest,
and Northwest became.
Delta.
You have a lot of different wings.
Couldn't keep a job. Couldn't hold a job.
Very good. So tell us what airframes you flew at North Central, Republic, and Northwest. And
I got to fly the Convair 580. I was extremely lucky in my career.
Convair 580. I think I've seen one of those in a museum somewhere.
Oh, come on. 4,000 horsepower aside, you feel like you should have John Wayne sitting next to you, whistling the high and the mighty.
Yeah. Radio engines.
Oh no, they were not radial engines. I typed in a 440 and a 580.
Okay.
But the 580s had Allison, 4,000 horsepower per side.
Got it.
So if you lost an engine, you double the horsepower on the remaining side and just held your feet on the rudder pedals.
Wow.
To
Okay.
keep it from turning.
Wow.
It was incredibly. I mean, it ran into the guidelines on a TV tower out in South Dakota
Okay.
and survived. They had one had a 150 tragically having a midair. Went into the airplane, was stuck in the baggage compartment.
Wow.
And the airplane landed, and everybody else on the airplane survived. So it was an incredible workhorse. Carried 48 passengers. Had window curtains on that.
The golden age of flying.
Golden age of flying it was. But we did 18 stops.
18
in one
stops.
day. There was one trip that had 18 stops on the last day.
Lots of approaches, lots of landings.
It was a lot of.
And it was all VORs and ILSs.
Yeah.
Probably a very rudimentary autopilot.
Some ADFs.
Oh, yeah, ADFs.
Yeah, we did our share of ADF flying in that, up in Canada especially.
And then what platform did you move into after that?
Flew the DC-9s and the MD-80s, and then I got to fly the A320s.
A320s, okay.
And it was a digital electronic airplane. And there was supposedly a story about a DC-9 pilot ready to retire, but he was upgraded to the A320 and he walked out the first day and reportedly said, "Now I know what my dog feels like watching TV."
All the glass.
Yeah, all the glass. And then I went to the DC-10 from that and had wonderful experiences on the DC-10.
Huge airplane.
Yeah, and had a lot of international flying. And then at the end, I was a DC-10 orphan because they got rid of him. You're talking to somebody who has a footnote to history. And last flight at a DC-10 worldwide, passenger DC-10, flown by a line pilot.
Okay.
The company pilots flew the last physical airplane and got all the glamour and the TVs and TV coverage and all that kind of stuff. But I was the last line pilot, so right down there they should have a footnote.
What was your final aircraft with Northwest?
747-400.
747-400. How many passengers on one of those?
403.
Wow. And you greeted every one of them as they exited the aircraft.
They did. It was kind of funny. As you know, in today's world, you're typed on the airplane in the simulator. You take your check ride, an FAA check ride, and because they could do so much and really gauge your knowledge of what you're doing. And so my first flight in the DC and I'm trying one more time. My first flight in the 400 was from Detroit to it wasn't Tokyo, it was Osaka.
Okay.
And so, as we had a line check airman with me, and it was OE, but as we stood at the door saying goodbye to all the people getting off, the last person off the airplane was a little old lady, and she kind of walked up, and I don't think she had a walker, but with a cane. And she said, "Sonny, that was a very nice time. That was a very nice flight. It was my first time in this airplane." And I said, "Me too." And she thought I was kidding.
Yeah.
I was, telling the truth.
That's
first
how
time
true
I
is that?
physically touched the airplane.
Wonderful.
I was qualified as a captain. So it shows how the advancement of the industry and the safety has been so elevated in the 30 plus years that I flew with the airlines, and, including the Navy and all that kind of stuff. It was 40 years. It's really kind of cool, and I'm so freaking lucky to be a part of that and to watch this. In the Convair 580, we were in a box that had this was a static simulator, and when they, to demonstrate a stall, the instructor would bang on the side and he'd say, "Stall, stall, stall," and then you just, did whatever you're supposed to do with all the levers and the stick, and so it changed. It's just a dramatic change.
You've seen a lot of changes in your time.
I have.
So, in addition to Navy flying and airline flying, I understand you've done some flying with the Commemorative Air Force. What kind of aircraft and how did you get into that?
I was flying with Don Hines, who was the founder of the Red Tail Squadron, and he believed in he was a Navy commander. He flew through with Braniff, and then Braniff went under, and he joined his brother in a garbage company, and his brother had a Cirrus, and so Don let me fly his Marchetti. He had a fighter squadron school down here using Marchettis, and Don let me fly his T-34 and his Marchettis and participate in that. So Don, the original, the Red Tail Mustang, which was kind of the project was just floated around different CAF units, and the CAF Minneapolis finally took it on as a project. Don threw a lot of money and a tremendous amount of effort in order to bring it up to Wapaton, North Dakota, and have professional restorers work on it. And he went a period of 2 years or so. He had that project finally restored. He found that the Tuskegee Airmen had very little publicity. They were not in the textbooks to that date, and they literally changed the world by overcoming obstacles and by dealing with the perceived thoughts and official documents of the time during World War II, saying that people with black skin didn't have the intelligence, didn't have the courage, didn't have the perseverance, didn't have the coordination to fly airplanes in combat.
They sure proved them wrong.
And they proved them wrong, and they became the best of the best. And Don locked into that story, and Don's goal was to have the Tuskegee Airmen, the lessons and legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen in every classroom in the United States. And we found that that was a bureaucratic impossibility. And so Don said, well, let's go work on the sizzle. And so he created a story by traveling the red-tailed Mustang, which is a C-model Mustang, very rare. But it was a signature airplane of the Tuskegee Airmen, because the more prominent fighter squadrons that were flown by white males at the time, they got all the finest equipment, and so the C models were kind of passed on to the Tuskegee Airmen, and so they took these airplanes which were older and less technologically advanced, and they had the new ones had the bubble canopy, which means you could see behind you, but the C models had what we call the Razorback canopies, but they were faster and they were more maneuverable. And so the Tuskegee Airmen took the cast-offs and used them to become the best.
Defended all the B-17s over in the 8th Air Force.
Yeah, and they would. The legend is that they would. The bomber pilots would say, "Hey, these red-tail people really stuck with us," and so they asked for the red-tail people, and it's on the side of our airplane, the red-tail Mustang. It's by request. Is on the side, and that's where that saying came from, because the B-17 pilots wanted the people that would stick with the airplanes, whereas the other squadrons would be lured away by the Luftwaffe, and they would go looking for the glory of the. And it's a natural experience. They were chasing after the Luftwaffe, and so that they could make Stars and Stripes and get the notoriety. But it was the B.O. Davis, the head of the Tuskegee Airmen, said, you go chasing after the Luftwaffe, and he said, you better not come back because you'll be court-martialed. And so they have a very, very disciplined group. And so we wanted to tell that story, that anybody can use these people instead of rock stars or athletes. They can use the Tuskegee Airmen as role models.
And there was a wonderful movie about it. You probably didn't fly the red-tail P-51 that much, but you were flying another World War II aircraft.
I was, and so that Don introduced me to the CAF, and because they needed people with formation skills, or they used formation pilots to photograph the red-tailed Mustang. Don's T-34 just didn't have wasn't perfect for that, and so I got qualified in the CAF T6, and the Texan, and just that was a regular Walter Mitty airplane.
900 horsepower, but
it was 1,200 horsepower.
1,200 horsepower.
I'm sorry, it was 600 horsepower. Yeah,
Okay.
Mustang was 12, 14. 100 horsepower, but yeah, it was 600 horsepower. It was.
Well, one of my most memorable flights in my entire life, you grabbed me at the Wings of the North Air Expo. Gary, come on, I want to take you for a flight. And you tossed me in the back of that T6.
I did.
And it wasn't just any flight. It was a formation flight of 4 for the air show. And astronaut Kurt Brown was the lead, and you were tucked right in as the tail diamond. and you guys were Thunderbird close. It was amazing.
We just had a lot of fun. We flown together with T600 and just enjoyed doing what we were doing, and got very close and worked as a team. And you were a Navy pilot, or you flew F-14s, and you had a lot of experience, and you and I kind of stuck together, kind of connected when 23 years ago when I bought my Cirrus, and it was just fun having you in a brand new environment, and you did very well. I said, Gary, you got it, and you hung right in there.
Oh, thank you. I remember that flight well. That was wonderful. And you're, speaking of Minnesota, you're very active in the Minnesota Aviation Hall of Fame. Tell me what you do there.
Well, I'm part of the selection committee and do many other things. And I started the mini documentaries with the Hall of Fame, and on the website we have these mini docs. I think there's 5 of them now, and we've got number 6 in production. And we take really public figures who are inductees into the Hall of Fame, and we've put together these 6-minute mini documentaries to feature these people in order to draw in the public and have them exposed to the over 250 stories about the inductees of the Hall of Fame. They're just inspirational stories. And Dale Clampmeyer is one of our inductees who's featured in one of these mini documentaries. So it's Minnesota Aviation Hall of Fame, or mayhoff.org. And so I strongly encourage you to do your homework and go see all of these mini documentaries, and because they're just intriguing and inspiring, and they tell a story, and that's what I like to do, especially now that I've lost my medical, is expose people to these fascinating stories, because they're out there, and they're just intriguing people that have done extraordinary things.
And speaking of that, my boss at the time and fellow test pilot, Scott Anderson, the late Scott Anderson, who did all the certification of the parachute and the SR20 for Cirrus, is in the Aviation Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And I go in and see his plaque over there at the museum. And so thank you for doing that.
Well, it's my pleasure, and it's just fun to tell the stories and explore these different. For example, you knew Scott Anderson was a Arctic explorer, and but most people don't know that.
Right.
And so this is what you can learn about these people who, they say, well, yeah, that was a famous person, but why was he famous, and what did he stand for, what did he advocate, and it's really neat to know these people as a whole person instead of just a headline.
So let's talk about today. Today was kind of special. You gave me a call and said, Gary, I'm retiring from flying, hanging up my headset after 62 years. How many hours do you have in your logbook?
25,000 plus.
25,000.
Yeah, but a lot of airline pilots have 25,000 hours.
Well, that's pretty impressive. And I said, Gary, I'd like to go do my final flight, and we'd like to pass the airplane on to somebody new who can make new adventures. And you arranged with Greg Guider and his son Sawyer, and we're going to go up and do some formation flying and get some air-to-air video for your final flight.
Give you the tours of a photo opportunity so that you could feature the airplane and show you how much fun it is and how cool it is to fly around this countryside.
That kind of takes you back to your Navy days of flying formation, going out to the boat.
Teaching formation, and fly formation, go out to the boat,
And now you're giving me the opportunity to sell that airplane to Arista, and somebody else is going to have a wonderful adventure. Tell me a little bit about your airplane. What year? What avionics?
Sure. Well, I told the story about how I was introduced to you and how I found my airplane. You found my airplane and sold it to me. So they converted it from a SR20 delivery date. And you were right. I really love that airplane. It's got 1,300 hours on it, and it's an old friend. And we've been to Telluride, Colorado. We've been to Hilton Head. We were part of the Tuskegee Airmen Day down at the Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show, and they featured the Tuskegee Airmen. It's so cool to just be a part of it. And Dale flew a SR22 down that had the Red Tail Project on the tail, the logo, and it was just everybody working together to tell their story and say these people were really cool.
What's the N number on it?
411 Victor Tango.
Is there a significance behind
There
it?
might be in trying to encourage my wife to support the idea of a airplane. I thought that I would put our anniversary date. So it's April 11th, Vicki and Tim.
It's an easy way to remember your anniversary date. I recommend for everybody to do that with their N number.
Yes, and when you do find a new home for it, I do expect that person to send us an anniversary card every April.
I like that. As we wrap up, anything else you'd like to tell our listening audience?
Well, you have been in the business of getting people excited about aviation, and I think that is that I've been so incredibly fortunate to be able to have aviation in my life, and I just strongly encourage people to be curious about aviation, be passionate about aviation if that's your thing, or be passionate about whatever they do, and enjoy what surrounds them and the people that surround them. That's one thing about aviation that is just so wonderful for me is they're just really, really, really cool people that enjoy being around airplanes, the independence, and one of the extremely gratifying things about aviation is that you can fail, and it's all your failure, or you can succeed, and you can just pat yourself on the back. You don't have to have anybody say how great you are, or what great job you did, or anything. You know it intuitively, and you can say, that worked out really well. And that was, we flew today, and it was just so enjoyable to be able to do something that's complex and it takes a lot of practice, but to do it well, to search, like the Tuskegee Airmen, just search for excellence. Right. And you never get a formation flight that's perfect, and we had some things that were not perfect about today's flight, and we shall not disclose those. Not humiliating things, but humbling experiences that we can learn from. Yes. And I bet you will never do what we did today, what I did today. But that was all a part of the learning process, and it was a beautiful day, and it was crisp and clear, and it was just so enjoyable. And the airplane we came back, we landed, and the airplane gave me a good landing, and it was very nice of the airplane to do that. I closed my eyes at just the right time, and it was a very fulfilling, very gratifying way to say goodbye to it. Now I physically can't. My medical certification went away, but now I can just hang around people like you that are fine, and just enjoy the camaraderie and enjoy the same passion that other people enjoy, and just talk about it.
Tim, thank you so much for your time and your sharing your life experience.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.